following morning, Tom decided to go into the village to talk to the neighbors. He needed help. He couldn't do it all on his own. As he walked through the village, he spoke to several people, explaining the difficulties they were facing. Some of the villagers offered to help with food and clothes. Others suggested he might want to hire some extra hands to help around the farm. Tom felt grateful for their support, but he still wasn't sure how to make everything work. That afternoon, he visited Mr. Baker again. The wise old man greeted him with a kind smile, and Tom poured out his heart to him. "Mr. Baker, I don't know what to do. The children are wonderful, but it's so much work. I can't keep up. I need help." Mr. Baker nodded thoughtfully, his face serious. "Tom, you're doing your best, and that's all anyone can ask. But sometimes we need to lean on others for help. You don't have to do it all alone." Tom sighed. "I know, but it feels like I've made a mess of everything. I thought this would be the answer, but it's harder than I imagined." Mr. Baker patted him on the back. "That's what life is like, Tom. It's hard, but it's also full of moments where we can learn and grow. You need to stop trying to do everything on your own. Ask for help, and you'll see that things will get better." Tom nodded, feeling a bit of relief. Maybe he didn't have to solve everything by himself. Maybe the village, his neighbors, and even his own family could help him in ways he hadn't considered. That night, Tom returned home, feeling a little lighter. He spoke to Lily about his conversation with Mr. Baker. Together, they made a plan. They would ask the villagers for more help, and they would work together as a community to care for the children. The next morning, Tom and Lily began making changes. They talked to their neighbors, asking for help with chores and sharing some of the responsibilities. They worked together, and slowly, things began to feel a little more manageable. Though the challenges were still there, Tom began to see that he wasn't alone in this. With the help of his family, the neighbors, and Lily's support, they could make this work. As the days passed, Tom and Lily's farm began to show small signs of improvement. They had asked for help from the villagers, and the response was overwhelming. Neighbors came by to lend a hand, bringing food, supplies, and even clothes for the children. Some of the older children from the village even volunteered to help take care of the younger ones, which gave Lily and Tom some much-needed rest. Despite the help, the work was still hard. Tom worked long hours in the fields, trying to grow enough crops to feed his growing family. Lily spent her days cooking, cleaning, and caring for the children. The children were more settled now, but there were still many challenges. Each day brought new problems, from illnesses to disagreements among the children, to keeping up with the farm's needs. One evening, after another long day of work, Tom sat down at the kitchen table, exhausted. Lily was sitting beside him, her hands folded in her lap. The children were already in bed, and the house was quiet. "I don't know if we're doing enough, Lily," Tom said quietly. "I feel like we're always running behind. We work so hard, but it doesn't feel like it's ever enough." Lily turned to him, her eyes filled with understanding. "I know, Tom. I know it's hard, but look at how far we've come. We have these beautiful children, we have the farm, and we have each other. That's something." Tom nodded, but his worries didn't go away. He wanted to do more, to make sure the children were happy and healthy. But he also knew that he couldn't do everything on his own. He needed to think of a better way to manage it all. The next morning, he went to the barn, determined to come up with a new plan. As he walked through the fields, he thought about what Mr. Baker had said, about focusing on his farm and making it better. Tom realized that he had been focusing too much on the children's needs and not enough on his own work. He had ignored his farm for too long, and now he was paying the price. "I need to get back to my roots," Tom said to himself as he stood looking out over the fields. "I need to focus on growing the farm, making it bigger and better. That's the way forward." When he returned to the house, he shared his thoughts with Lily. "I've been thinking," he said. "I need to work harder on the farm. If I can make it grow, we can feed everyone. We can make this work." Lily agreed. "You've always worked so hard, Tom. If anyone can do it, it's you. But don't forget to take care of yourself too. We need you." Tom smiled at her. "I won't forget." With renewed determination, Tom began making plans to expand the farm. He decided to plant more crops, add more animals, and build a larger barn to store the food they would need. He asked the villagers for help, and once again, they were eager to lend a hand. Some helped with the planting, others with the building, and soon the farm was buzzing with activity. As Tom worked tirelessly on the farm, he felt a sense of pride. It wasn't easy, and there were still many challenges to face, but he knew that he was on the right path. The farm began to flourish. The crops grew tall and strong, and the animals were well fed. Slowly but surely, the farm began to provide enough food for the children. Lily, too, noticed the change. The house felt more organized, and the children were happier, with enough food to eat and clothes to wear. Tom and Lily were finally starting to see the rewards of their hard work. As the months went by, the village began to notice the changes on Tom and Lily's farm. The once small and struggling farm was now one of the most successful in the area. The crops were plentiful. The animals thrived, and the children were well cared for. People in the village began to admire Tom's hard work and determination. One evening, as Tom sat on the porch with Lily, watching the sunset, several neighbors walked by. They waved to Tom, and one by one, they stopped to chat. "You've really turned things around, Tom," said Mrs. Harris, a neighbor who lived down the road. "Your farm looks wonderful, and those children of yours are growing up so well." Tom smiled modestly. "It's been a lot of hard work, but I couldn't have done it without the help of all of you. I'm grateful for everything you've done for us." "It's good to see the whole village come together," Mr. Adams added, a farmer who lived a few houses away. "When one person succeeds, it helps everyone. Your farm is proof of that." Tom and Lily looked at each other, feeling a sense of pride in the community that had supported them. Tom realized that the village had become like family to him. They had worked together to make sure the children had a good life, and the bond they shared was stronger than ever. Tom wasn't just a farmer anymore. He was a part of a community, a family that cared for each other and helped one another through tough times. He realized that the success of his farm wasn't just about growing crops or raising animals. It was about building a life together with the people around him. Over time, things continued to improve. Tom's farm grew even more successful, and the children flourished. Lily was no longer sad. She was proud of the life they had built together, and her heart was full of love for her husband and the children they cared for. Tom had learned many things along the way. He had learned that raising a family was not just about giving them what they needed. It was about working together, asking for help, and being there for one another. He had learned that hard work, community, and love were the keys to a fulfilling life. One day, as he stood on the porch with Lily, watching their children play in the yard, he smiled. Life had changed so much since the day they first brought the children home. It had been hard, but they had made it work. They had built a family and a community that would last. "I'm glad we did this, Lily," Tom said softly, his arm around her. "It wasn't easy, but we've come so far. We're a family now, and that's all that matters." Lily smiled up at him. "Yes, we are, and I wouldn't want it any other way." Tom looked out over the fields, knowing that there would always be challenges ahead. But with Lily by his side, with the support of the village, and with the love of his children, he felt ready for anything. The end of one chapter was the beginning of another, and Tom knew that whatever the future held, they would face it together as a family.